Hey, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. So here we are. We'll see what animals want to come through. When you hop on, you can write in anything that you are working with, dealing with, having fun with, struggling with. You share what is happening for you, and the animals, guides, will come in accordingly. And one of the things that has been coming through me is this unicorn energy. So it's not something I've been familiar with. Of course, you see it out in mainstream and cartoons and cutesy little sparkly gifs and everything on the internet, but they just keep popping into my awareness. And somebody asked me a while back if I had painted any unicorns for onesies. She has a granddaughter that she bought the Pegasus heart wings for, and then asked, do you have any unicorns? And I was like, no, I don't have any unicorns. And so I started to connect with them, with the unicorns, to see what they wanted to come through and who and what wanted to be painted. And I had in my mind, because I was thinking of baby onesies, you know, the little tiny clothes for babies, that it would be more pastel colors, but most of what came out are these super high, highly vibrant, bright colors. And the energies, as I keep asking, like, what do you hold? What do you bring for us? Because so many of the animals that I connect with, I have had a connection with in the physical realm. And of course, I don't, maybe not of course, but I don't have that memory of that as a child with unicorns. I know that I've heard some people say that they saw unicorns when they were kids, which makes sense to me because they're from a different realm and dimension, and that some kids whose sensory systems are really open and able to connect to these different realms can actually see them. And I think that there's going to be a time in the not so near future, in the near future, maybe it's not so near, I don't know, where more and more children as well as adults will be able to visually see them. But for now, they want us to consciously connect as adults, and if there's children around, with those energies, because they are pictured what the sort of spokes unicorn is telling me, is that they really do hold energies that feel magical, that have a lot of essence energies in them, a lot of, and it shows up as sparkly. And for me, they're very highly vibrant energies. What they're saying when they come through, sometimes for children, for young children especially, they will soften those energies, and so that they're not so stark. Sorry, that's like I've been painting a lot, so I have paint all over my hands, which also makes sense and feels very comforting to me to hear. And still, I've painted a few, one or two maybe, that have come out in pastel colors. But as I keep going and connecting with those energies and asking more and more about what are the vibrations, what are the frequencies, what do you want us, what do you have, what are you holding that we as humans can can use and find as that we need, that like things that are missing in our energy systems, in our physical realm and world. And it's this, especially right now, it's intense, high vibe, like very vibrant colors and combinations of colors. And often either a lot of movement comes, or sort of restful types of energies. So it's been really interesting. I've just in the last month, I think I've painted something like 8 or 10 different unicorns. 2 were last night, and every time I paint, not every time, but often as I paint the next one, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite now. So this is the most recent one that I did last night, and I'm really enjoying it. It's different. So the background is watercolor, and it's a unicorn galloping through the sky, and it's a lot of silvers and golds. I don't know if you can see the sort of sparklies. And obviously there's a lot of movement, and often sacred shapes come in. Hey, Holly. Often a lot of shapes, like sacred shapes, like for me especially, spirals and hearts and stars come in, and the vibrations of those. And because we have a lack in our culture, and for many in our day-to-day lives these days, there's been so much with the virus, and the terms that have been used in the media and then by people are things like lockdown, shut down, stopped, and those have an impact on our energy systems as well. And people have been feeling that, especially that this has been for an entire year. So a lot of people have been feeling numb and just like literally shut down, in shock still, grief, a lot of pressed down energies. I know that I've felt that in the collective as well, and for me personally at times. And so when I go in and connect to, for me, painting is such a wonderful remedy, medicine, for many, many reasons. And I know that this is true when I, with my clients and people that I've led, participants in my classes and so forth, when I have led them through the process that I use, that it consistently helps people to open, access, tune in to their heart, through desires. And that's always a gateway. Those connections are always gateways into our capacity for tuning in with our intuition, with our higher self. You can call it many, many different things. And specifically, I do this with the process for self-discovery, for process for transforming from one state into another, for creating an experience, whether it's for myself when I'm painting by myself, or when I'm doing that with a group, of creating that tapping in, attuning, activating, opening, accessing into these realms where you get more in sync, where you get feel more connected, where your heart can soften and open, where you can access into areas that you may not always allow. And I love to paint in a way where I'm accessing calling for information for energies that are missing, right? So sometimes I'll do that when I'm not feeling very inspired, or when I'm feeling low or not good, or I'm processing something and I want very consciously to feel more connected. That's the underlying intention that I hold, is for connection. And so that could be with yourself, with your heart, with your intention, with feeling more of the feelings that I'm processing, in order to let that move more fully, to find a place of power, to find the place of strength, to find the insight, to find the messages and understanding of whatever it is that's going on, and also to access, moving forward, of reaching into more of what is possible and into what is more available. And so this painting that I just showed, often I'll have in the unicorn or the Pegasus or the horse or the animal. Mostly the animals that I'm painting are the horses, unicorns now, Pegasus. For a while I was only painting, almost always just painting Pegasus. Just before, maybe a month or two before my horse died, that started to come through a lot, horse angels. And then for weeks, maybe even months after he passed, those energies were really coming in to help me really find those connections. And now with unicorns, I've done whales and a bunch of elephants. I talked a little bit in yesterday's live stream about elephant energy and some of the messages that were coming through. But today it's all about unicorns, evidently. And after I wrote that and I spoke that, my internal brain went, did I really just say that I'm going to be connecting with unicorns? Oh my God. And then I wrote one of my broadcast emails to my list yesterday. If you're not on it, you can go to my website, onehearthealingcenter.com, and sign up. And I wrote, yep, now I'm really out there. And in the past, I've always used that, heard that against me. Oh my God, and it's often used as a very derogatory statement. Oh my God, she's so out there, like that's a really bad thing. But now I realize, yes, I am really out there, and it's a really great thing, because that's a place where the dreaming happens. That's a place where you are connected into that larger field of dimension and energy, and what else is available that is often missing here in the physical realm. And so now I see it's one of my superpowers. And so, paintings like this are part of that connection, and that there's messages that come in here. So when as I'm painting, and then afterwards, and I love leading people through this process, and I've got a series coming up in a couple of weeks called the Magical Medicine Transformation series. And this is part of what we're going to be doing, showing you how to do this connection and enhance it for yourself. And so as I'm painting, I'm seeing and sensing what colors want to come through and how they want to come through. And, it's usually, there's a combination of free flow movement through the watercolors, which is in that background. And it's really, those are like my favorite colors and combinations. Oh my gosh. And then all the little, you can see the little stars, and there's a lot of little hints of colors. And then there's this shape, the horse. I never used to be able to paint horses growing up, try as I might, which I did all the time. There you can get some of the shiny gold and silver and blues and purples in there, and I love it. Yeah. And the spirals and the stars. And then I keep connecting. Like once painting is done, it's not just done in terms of the actual paint. It's like, what are the messages that are coming through? What stories want to be told? What are the energies and the frequencies, and why? It's a great place for that lifelong learner and questioner of life that I am. And hey, Krista. And Donna, I don't know you, but I'm glad that you're here. Or don't know you in the physical yet. And so it's, I've been doing that with the unicorns and really getting just these waves of energy. And one of the things that I didn't realize is that there's a tremendous amount of creative energy that's connected with them. It's really fun. And I'm a creative, and by nature, part of my essence. And so finding a something to focus on instead of like the larger sense of creativity, which is what I often do, it feels just like it's really juicing me. And it's really, really fun. And I'm excited to connect you guys in with that. And this was earlier in the day. I think it was yesterday morning. I took a break, and this one, I just posted this online. And so I just love these colors, and there was all this light coming around, in and around this particular unicorn. It was so much fun, and I love horses, of course, and anything connected with horses and horse energy, and of course unicorns have that amazing horse energy. Thank you for saying that. It's gorgeous. And so there's like, what part of what happened in here is like this combination of, there's some, where are they? Some like softer colors in here that are just so comforting and soothing and quieting, and these soft colors around the unicorn, and of course all the hearts. And then there's like this really strong, like intense, these colors, they're really intense. Oh my God, they're so vibrant. I just love them so much. And they're done with water, so there's a lot of flow. Even when I'm doing some of the finer details, it just takes like these little dabs of color to get the lines. You don't have to do anything. And I love things that are subtle and that are that can be really delicate, because that's part of my energy. And so I really have a fine, deep appreciation for that. And so that was happening yesterday morning. There's these subtleties coming in, which I love that we need, right? Because there's so much sort of coarse, challenging, aggressive, yucky, blah, disharmonious kinds of energies that are happening in and around the world, certainly in the U.S. where I live, and in many communities. And so, again, the elephants talked about this yesterday from a different perspective, but that the calling in of these energies, which are harder, more challenging rather, for many of us to feel a lot of times, especially these days when all of the harsh circumstances are going on, are so important to call up, whether we can call them up for us, ourselves, and also whenever we do that individually for ourselves, that ripples out. And when we do that mindfully for ourselves as well as the collective, it's very potent and very needed, and does indeed help shift and change and raise the vibration. And it's more than that. It is helping to break down to, I just heard the word discombobulate, to change the patterns that are ingrained in ourselves, as well as the ways in which we've been programmed. I've been doing a lot of very, very in-depth work with that for a long time, and very especially over the last year and a half, and have had this whole programming piece that has been an overlay for me recently, really come out and come to light. And I know that when I can do that, it's because somebody else has been able to do that. And that when I do that, that it helps to open that door for more of that to happen, so that these frequencies that are coming in, like the beauty, the harmony, the majesty, the nobility, the harmoniousness, the delicacy, the intricacy of beauty, of interconnectedness, the vibrancy, the high, really high vibrancy energies can help support us for our deepest aspects of ourselves that want to come out into the light, but that have been scared, have been suppressed, have been oppressed, have felt oppressed. And it is those aspects of ourselves that we are opening out. It's an ongoing process. It's not a once and done deal. And I know those of you who are on here pretty much know that. And so, so we're going to be playing in those realms in this upcoming series, the Magical Medicine Transformation series. And one of the things that I wrote that first came in, this phrase, was dream the dream so you can live it. And so what I've been describing is kind of some of the anatomy, not really the in-depth anatomy of it, but really the overview anatomy of what that means. I think I grew up hearing don't daydream kinds of messages, right? And many people have, and the school systems kind of ingrained that. That's been the philosophy, not Montessori and those types of schools, but traditional regular schools, at least in the US, have a lot of ingrained stuff about staying focused in a very particular way, in a more linear manner, and not accessing the intuitive, creative connections with our sensory system and with our heart, and what that means for practical day-to-day living, right? And that's the switch that I know that I am in the process of ongoing, and that I help create guided journeys and all sorts of different ways of supporting that process for others, so that the places really, I said this earlier, but saying it again, it's worth saying over and over and over again, because we've had so much doubt and so much shut down and so much disconnect from all of ourselves, all of the wisdom parts of ourselves, all of the what often gets called the authentic parts of ourselves. To me, what that means is it's not all just like the happy joy parts, but it's all the feeling parts. It's all of the internal makings of what creates us as humans in this duality dimension. But that's not all of us, and that's part of our soul journey of what we're here for, are these bigger, deeper, fuller, expanded connections, because we are more than just in this physical body. And so when we paint, when we do some of the different aspects of how I work with people, self-doubt is one of the things that often comes up. I teach a lot of animal communication and animal connection, because they're such wonderful keepers of these energies of unconditional love, of our natural instincts, right? And there's such a place of opening for so many of us into the natural realms and into the divine, even if we don't think of it that way, but they truly are. And so in these connections, the programming and the patterning of self-doubt and not believing, one of the most common, frequently said things is, am I just imagining this? Is it real? How do I know that this is real? How do I know that this is valid? It comes up when you're doing healing skills also. And so it is part of the movement. I want to find all the words, because these deeper patternings and literally programs, like the overlays of how we've been programmed and how we've taken that in and internalized the voices of no, you can't believe that. No, it is your imagination. No, don't go there, kinds of things that are programmed out of people is so important to be with directly, so that we don't have to continue believing those old voices, those old internalized aspects, so that the parts that have sometimes dissociated in order to create safety for ourselves, the parts of ourselves that have been suppressed or held back or withheld, to hold, all of those that are commonly often called defense systems or defense mechanisms, or sometimes called coping mechanisms. To me, they are our self creating safety from fear, from pain, from experiences that have been overwhelming to our system and to the sensitivity of our sense of connection to the divine in us, to our sensitivity, to our intuitive, to our creative, to our big, tender, loving hearts, all the things that have sort of not felt good with those things, is one way to say it. And so it is our creativity to cope. It is our creativity to create safety in these ways. It is our creativity, our life force energy. I equate with creativity. Our life force is the creative life force. And so it is ours to create, co-create with all those parts of ourselves, co-create with these energies, like, now evidently unicorns, in addition to the elephants and the horses. And, I've done a lot of connecting with, I'm looking over here because I have pictures of big cats. And Holly, if you're still on, with Priya from when you were, actually it's from when we were walking across the bridge together, when we were at Big Cats, when I brought an animal communication group together 2.5 years ago to Big Cat Rescue in Tampa, Florida. If you're not familiar with them, they're awesome, beautiful, wonderful, amazing souls, and they do incredible work in the world. See, I get very touched. And so there's a bridge that walks over, evidently. Now Priya wants to come in and join this. Priya is an amazing tiger. So there's what's happening is there's lots of information flooding in all at once, and I'm just pausing to let it group and gather. And so Holly was working there at the time at Big Cat, and joined us for the day to help take photographs of our group and with us and some of the big cats. She had access to go closer in than we could, and took beautiful pictures, and just so enjoyed meeting with her and spending that time together. And there's tigers, which before going to Big Cat, I didn't rescue, I didn't realize, but tigers actually love to be in water and swim. And so one of the areas is this two beautiful large air enclosures that are part of I think it's called Tiger Lake. And there's, at the end of it, there's a walkway that's kind of like a bridge that's up high, so that you can look down into the water. And so when there's two different tigers in separate enclosures that live there now. One side, on the left side, is Duchess, and on the right side is Priya. And the previous year, I had this really deep amazing connection with Priya. Everybody loves Priya also. She's very dearly loved. And anyway, and she was so connecting and communicative. And all the year in between, once I had met those animals, I would touch base and connect with them at different times. And and so I'd been doing that with Priya all year. And so this second trip, we got over to her area. It was towards the end of the day, and she was like pacing on the land. And when she saw us come in, she started vocalizing, and she went into the water. And I'm like Priya, Priya, Priya. I got so emotional, and Holly was standing right there. And so when I looked at that picture and I realized Holly was listening, I was like, all this flood of connection came back. And yes, I will show you this picture. It's part of my desk. If I can get it here. Here's that picture of Miss Priya. So she's right almost directly underneath her. She had been swimming right towards us, and with such intensity, and she was looking at us. So I asked everybody in the group, did Priya look directly at your eyes? And everybody was like, oh, she absolutely did. So at some point she made such, not just a little eye contact, but she was so deeply connecting with us. It was phenomenal. And she was swimming back and forth, and she wanted to climb up and greet us. And, they don't allow direct contact with any of the cats there. And but if ever there was a time that I wanted to, which is most of the time actually, that was it. I just felt like it would have been this, at least energetically, it was these enormous, tremendous, heart-connecting hugs. And I'm sure that I've known her from other times. And but her heart and her soul is phenomenal. And you can go on to Big Cat Rescue and type in Priya and read her story, which is quite extraordinary, difficult, not a good. She was a mom used for breeding. And anyway, I won't try and I'm not in that sort of space to recall all of that type of information. But they're also on Facebook, and they have live streams every single day so that you can get on there and watch behind the scenes what's happening, especially since they haven't had visitors publicly since last March 16th. And so that's quite a lot of visiting. So these are the things that we're going to be connecting in with, but actually working with. We're going to be going directly into, we'll see. I am waiting for the specific class downloads. So on the website, you can, I'll put the link in the description or the comments after the class, but you can go to onehearthealingcenter.com/magical medicine transformation series. And in between all of those words is a dash. In between magical medicine transformation series is a dash. Or you can just go to my website under events and you can click on it there. Or you can just go to my Facebook page and it's all over. Scroll down, you'll find it. Or my business page, scroll down, you'll find it. But on that page, often I will say what we're going to do, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this class, I'm not doing that because they want us to just show up. I have an overall idea, of course, that we're going to be connecting. It's what they said is learning conscious communication practices with nature, energy, light beings, and spirit animal guides. So you can see the unseeable, what I've been talking about today, communicate with the invisible, which is another way of saying what I've been talking about today. Tap into a magical, little did I know, all the unicorns were streaming in through that one word, magical, transforming state of being, and unleash, literally, your creative life force to lead your life in harmony with your heart, awakening your sacred leadership. And so in this process, one of the things that can emerge is like your way of being, which allows you to connect into your special and unique leadership way, right? So this is me doing my way. You're going to do it in your own way. And I've seen a couple of people talking about painting on here, which I love. And I can't read all the longer, I'll go back and read the longer text, which I love to read. But it's unique for super important reasons for each individual. It's not cookie cutter. We're not meant to be like everybody else. We are meant to feel a sense of belonging, which is why we want to be like others. But it is those very special, unique qualities, for me, the daydreaming, the connecting with horses, the connecting with what was unseen and unheard, always felt like, and I was always told, oversensitivity, daydreaming, don't believe those ideas, kinds of energies that were my soul path come into the family perfect place so that I could meet those places and find them truly for myself. And so that lifelong journey, that's our soul process. That's our soul growing. That is also how our sacred leadership wakens through us. That is the medicine of being you that is most needed for you and also in the world, right? So now that I can appreciate these aspects of myself, for instance, and you for those places in yourself, you can feel the support of those energies and tap into them and let them speak yes to you as you clear out all the cobwebs of all the voices and the networks of all the ways in which you've shut things down or turned them off or split off from them, so that you can activate it. And because it is truly, these are to me, it feels so profoundly, deeply like this is the medicine that you need. The things that we shut off, we have to retrieve them in order for our souls to integrate and grow in this lifetime and for this life purpose. And so that is our transformation. That is our growing. That is our self-discovery. That is the awakening. That is the ongoing, beautiful, unique, often challenging, yucky, mucky, messy, but magnificence of ourselves, so that can come forward. And they are telling me, Priya and the unicorns and the elephants and the guides are saying that more, as we are in this series, more will come about our sacred leadership. Excuse me. So come on over, join us. We are starting in 2 weeks, and join now. Don't wait. Join now, because I'm going to open up a private Facebook group. I'm going to have a supplies list. I'm going to have some live videos that are different than this, special just for the people in there, that are designed specifically for those who are saying, yes, I want this magical medicine transformation series, these energies, and to see what this is directly for me and have a community base with others who are also seeking this. And so it creates a container, a sacred container for all of this emerging, accessing movement in such a beautiful and powerful way. So you can get started as soon as you click on the link, and the email gets mailed to you with some of the basics, and I will be opening up that Facebook group soon. It's already waiting, and people will be able to enter. On this live stream, it's April 2nd, so trot over on your fingertips, with your fingertips on your keyboard, and click on, and there's 2 payment options, a single payment or I think it's a 3 payment. And so you can go on and get all of the other details by going into that website for onehearthealingcenter.com/ Magical Medicine Transformation Series, with a dash in between, Magical Medicine Transformation Series. So thank you so much for joining me today. Evidently, I am being guided to do this every Friday at noon Pacific time, at least for a little while. I don't know for how long. It may be once more, twice more, 100 times more. I don't really know yet. And tell your friends about it. Share this when it's done. Share this video. Please like it, write comments, and join us for this series. So I look forward to seeing you there, and thank you so much for joining me here. Magical medicine for each of you.